Good morning, Spartans. How's everyone's day going? Thought I'd pop on here for a live. Been a bit of a weird day today. Price action has been really rangy, so for all you range traders out there, congratulations, you're probably making a killing. For all you breakout traders, probably the opposite is true. I have only taken a couple of trades today. Small profit, trading on Tradeify at the moment, and seeing if we can get a setup here. See if we can get down to this level here. We could probably look at taking quick bounce. Starting to come down a bit. If we fail this level here, there's a good chance we do come down to this chop. Just a real choppy day. Not. Look at this 15-minute chart. Just wicks everywhere. No real direction. This yellow line is the previous high of day, yesterday's high of day. Can't get a close above that. Rejection here. Rejection, rejection, rejection. Probably going to go lower. The question is, how far down do we go? I don't want to chase a short at this point, so I'm going to wait and see if I can catch a long. Almost there. So the 890s is going to be kind of where we went here, right? Such a choppy day. Such a choppy day. All right, looks like we got filled. We are long the Nasdaq, three micros, 895, trying to catch a little pop up into here. Stop is, yeah, basically any break below this level here. Might peel on the way up here. See if we cannot get this back up to that level there. Just trying to play the range. Nothing fancy. Should get filled one here. Or not. Come on. It's right on that line. Tick. Short a tick. All right, this is the fun about trading. It's going to come all the way back down and break this low here. I am on the 1 minute chart as well. Come on. Up you go. Just scalping at this point here. Just looking at a little off. Want to make a little profit on this trade. Don't like it. Don't like that. I mean, we're probably still going to test the top of the range, but at this point, I'm just trying to scalp this in. Testing those 90s. Do we make a run for this little liquidity candle here? Maybe get a little sweep here. I mean, at this point, I'd be looking to probably buy down here in the next one. Got some EMAs on the chart that really are useless at this point when you're chopping. Just kind of remove them. Not going to be helpful. I really wish I could find a trade for you guys. I don't see much here that's hitting me. Let's look at Goldie. I mean, essentially, gold is really in this range now, right? We're looking at 05 to 30s. It's a big range, but look at this chop up here. You break back, you think you're going to retest that and go. Instead, you break back into the range. We get to the bottom of the range, and let's see what happens actually when we get back here again. I'll mark that. Some brutal price action today. All right, breaking down a little bit. Can we get lower? Come on. Let's go, baby. So another monitor to my left here, we are POC is right about 905s, right about here. So we are now under the point of control. Your next value area high stacked with VWAP is sitting at the 845 level, which is right about here. I'm debating layering into a long here if I can catch it before it ranges back. But no real direction, right? Like you look at this and you can just kind of zoom out. Here we are. This is market open. This is my time zone is 7:30, 9:30 Eastern. And 7:30, so 3 hours now. We haven't really gone anywhere. We're right back in the middle of the range. So at this point in time, I'm not sure that there's going to be a massive break one way or the other. I think fading the extremes or the edges, right? Waiting for the bottom to take a long is the play this. So not much to do here, but wait. We want this to get a little bit, I mean, not layer in here, to be honest. I am. I'm going to take two here. And I'm going to get rid of that one. And we're going to add right at VWAP. Problem is this whole area is a chop area. This whole area here. Right there, look at that. This whole area, all of it. I mean, you just chop in here, right? So trying to get an entry unless you're patient enough to wait for the complete bottom. Right, way down here. But again, is this the bottom? Or is that going to be the bottom where you play the long? Or is it going to look below, sweep this liquidity, and suck in, right? So times like that, I don't mind layering in with just a couple of contracts and seeing where we can go with it. All right, getting a small little push now. Just going to be scalpy. I mean, I'm hoping to get back to this line here. Let's see what happens. Just nasty chop it again, to be expected. Like I said, this whole area, we went nowhere for hours, for a full hour. So I expect the same in here. I don't expect anything to happen. All right. What's this is a gold chart. Go back to NQ. $44.50. Just moving that up a little bit. Just front running VWAP. My VWAP here on Trading View is at 845. In case we get down there, I would want to add. I don't know if you guys can hear that wind out here, but it's windy where I'm at. And the chop's real. Let's see if we can't get a push out of this area. I don't even know what the ATR is down here. My ATR here, 14 candle ATR is 11 points, man. So we're not really doing much. To be honest, taking 3/4 of an ATR and just looking for another setup is not a bad idea. So looking for 7 points, right? Which I probably had at one point. 72. Yeah, close. All right, there's a little push. Can we get some follow through? Probably not. I mean, again, just look to the left. All you see is chop. So this is where patience sometimes would have paid and just not jumped in this trade. You know, my idea was to just layer into it as it came down, but it's not coming down anytime soon. At least not at a quick rate that I'm looking for. I'm just tired of sitting in this chop, to be honest, guys. I'm just gonna get out. I'm just gonna get out. I'm gonna wait. Let's wait till we get a little lower. YM seems to be topping out. I think you look at that range on YM's daily chart. This is the daily. Right, I mean, there's a whole volume up here. All right. Getting pretty close to that area. All-time highs is going to be right there, right? Question is, does it make a run for all highs, or are we just going to kind of bounce back this way? Yeah, not much going on here, guys. Getting a bit of a bounce on the Dow here from that fair value gap on the 15-minute chart. As far as my trade of the day, couple of winners, nothing crazy, just chop, chop, chop on the Nasdaq. And this area here is a pretty big chop area. So if you're playing the range, you're doing pretty well today for the most part. Problem with ranges are unless you're literally getting the top of these ranges, there's so much chop in between. Like either you need to sit through that drawdown, be sized appropriately, or you have to layer into your trades buying, for example, down here, a couple of micros at a time, riding it up, serving this drawdown, letting it come back up. I mean, it's all just chop, really. Let's see. I would like to be able to get a long right about here, but let's just have a look. You can just see that constant rejection of the previous high of day. I mean, I don't think to break that today. At least not over lunchtime right now. There's not enough volume to really push us through that. So the safe thing to do is to play the range, and this little white line here is your VWAP. I'm assuming if we do get down there, that's a good spot to buy. This volume area here, you see these 15-minute rejections up, 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 right? Just gonna mark that. Oops. We'll get there and see if we can get back down there. 51s. See if we can get entry down there. Otherwise, there's not much to do but sit on your hands, guys. It's been a tricky market today for sure. Again, the range play has been great if that's your specialty or if you're inclined to range trade. If you're someone who likes breakout, like myself, I do prefer break and retest. This kind of chop is just really hard to play. There's not really not much to do. And there hasn't even been a break and retest, right? These are all fails of yesterday's high day, previous high day. You're looking for a break and a retest down to this level and a go. That's not happening. The rejections are for sure. I mean, there was a trade here, I suppose, if you're looking at fading yesterday's high of day and getting back into the range. But it's tough enough to trade NASDAQ during lunchtime because the low volume algorithms just chopping up and down. There's not a lot of direction. So you add the fact that we've been doing this all day, just makes for a pretty miserable day of price action. But we will wait a little bit longer. We'll see if we can get into the 50s. We are now just again chopping up. This whole area here is brutal. Like you just look to the left. Just gonna mark that out. It's nasty. I mean, it's this whole range, but really from here to there, absolute garbage, trash, chop. So one would expect if this is happening here, it is going to happen here, right? So let's see what happens. I would expect the same sort of chop. I did have a couple of micros in here. Patience would have paid there. I would have pulled a little out. Let's just move that back over there. And me personally, when I'm range trading or trying to play the range, I generally like to go in the direction of the trend, meaning since this morning, we're clearly in an uptrend from the overnight. Oops, where are we here? Let's go to the 5-minute chart. I can see that a little bit better. Where's my overnight session? Basically, we open in right. So there's Asia. I guess I could do this. Come on, Greek, get your shit together, man. There we go. All right. So red section is going to be Asia. Green is London in New York. Didn't do much for that whole first section of Asia, and then we started to get that big push in London, right? We moved essentially from the 620s to the 9, so 300-point move overnight. So again, not to be, you may kind of expect this chop after you get a 300-point move when you're sleeping, for crying out loud. But there it is. There's 300 points in London. If you were awake for that session, good for you. You probably made some good money as it, followed a nice trend. And now we chop. So for me personally, because we are in an uptrend, I want to play this range only to the long side. I'm anticipating that eventually that resistance is going to fail. That's just my anticipation after seeing a move like this. Now we can stall here for sure and stay here and never break this high day for sure. But just personally, I'd rather play the long into that area, peel your profits at the top of the range, wait for it to test the bottom of the range, long, peel your profits at the top. That's just my personal preference. Some people want to do it the other way, right? They want to play both ends of the range. Fine. As soon as you break the top of the range, you're going to stop out or going to wait for a retest and then go long again. So either way, I mean, there's no real right or wrong way to do that. Just my personal preference is waiting for the long, and there's another line I had marked out. We're starting to reject that. So, I mean, if you're even scalping this for 5 points, 10 points at a time, you're probably doing okay. I mean, that's a 20-point move there. It's pretty decent. Let's see what happens here. Gonna hold that, or are we gonna pop through? Getting down to the bottom of this chart would be great. Again, that's where VWAP is sitting. A little bit lower, I guess. It is. Your VWAP's at about 48. 51 is kind of this chop zone. You can take that and we can go all the way across. I mean, really, that's some nice confluence there lining up with the top of this price action, right? Resistance, breakthrough, support. You break that, you look below, you fail, back up into the range. It's telling me that this is a really good spot to go long, at least the way that I trade. The question is, will I have the patience to wait for it to get there? Which is always the part of trading, is sitting around and waiting and doing nothing. Is everyone else making money? Or how's your day? Let me know in the chat. Are you guys range traders? Are you guys waiting for breakouts? If you're trading Fibonacci, it's pretty useless today as well. There's no real swing highs, swing lows that you can anchor to. I mean, I suppose from here to here, but there's no 50% retracements anywhere. This one was not bad. Anyone out there trade the fibs a lot? Just Yeah, I mean, we didn't quite get to the 50, right? There's your 50%. There's your golden pocket, 61.8, 65%. So fibber, at least the way most people trade them, pretty useless today as well. So you're just looking at purely trying to time your entries and exits on this range and trying not to get chopped up, right? Just chop. Gold is probably moving a little better. I don't normally like to mark up stuff on trade. I find trade evade to be so cumbersome, to be honest. I mean, need to use it to enter and exit trades, obviously, but as far as marking things up, I much prefer trading view. I've got a couple of other screens I'm looking at here that you guys can't see, but that's where I'm doing most of my analysis. Trade evade is pretty darn useless in my opinion in terms of drawing stuff. So hopefully this whole trade evade prop thing and trying to compete with Project X and all the other drama that's going on in the prop firm space can get sorted out, because if any platform needs a refresh, it's definitely this one. Like this is really cumbersome, especially when they're trying to trade groups or copy trade and trying to always have to do the math and not being able to bracket trade and remember that, okay, I've got 4 accounts now and I'm trading, 4 micros. I need to enter 16 and then, you peel things off. It's just so cumbersome. So let's hope that they do fix that. And let's hope that we can get a trade here somewhere. Let's go. Come on down. Just brutal. Brutal chop. This is a 865 30-point range, I guess. 30-point chop in half an hour. And if you bought here, you went away for 30 minutes and you came back here in the exact same spot. Not sure this is going to clean up. We got 6 minutes until the new hour here. So we'll see how that 1 p.m. candle looks. See if we get any kind of increased volume from that point. So you mean you got a bearish looking 1 hour candle. You are going to potentially close below this wick here. All right, let's see if we get a close below that wick there. At that point, again, outside of today, because it's been so choppy and so rangy, let's remove that too. Just realized I probably took all my keys off my 1 minute my 1 minute time frame as well, but that's okay. So yeah, I mean, normally in such a non-rangy day, I mean, you're looking for some continuation, right? So you're looking for this candle to break. You'd be looking for this red candle to close below that low, and then essentially I'd be looking for the next 1 hour candle to open, retest this area, retest this wick actually, and push back down. So give me a continuation from this red selling. You're not really seeing much of that in this chop. Let's see if that changes here in the next 4 minutes. And we might not even close under that wick by the looks of it. Let's back down to 1 minute. Yeah, it's like I thought. I did pull all those drawings, so that's okay. You just remarked them, but I'm gonna leave this one to remind me that that is the wick of the lower wick of the previous 1 hour candle. Let's see where we close here. I do still like this as a potential quick bounce. This is VWAP. This is also a volume on the 15-minute, right? Look at all that volume there that just acted as support. Especially you see this big wick, and this is where we close. So I like that spot for sure. So we'll let there. Whether we get there or not is another question, but let's see what happens. It's getting close. See if we actually tag that level or not. I've got the current session value area low sitting at 44.50. So we may blast through. Oh, look at that. I missed me. There we go. Okay, I'm long here, 3 micros. Just front running VWAP a little bit. Volume on the 15-minute. All right, lots of volume here. Support. And on another chart, I've got, just show you here. Another chart that I'm looking at, it looks really messy, I know, but we've got, I think I got pivots on there, do I? Gonna turn the pivot points off. Blue lines are value areas high, value area low. Dotted line is VWAP. Purple line, I've anchored a VWAP to the opening. So this is New York VWAP. We are technically below New York VWAP, but again, that it's completely flat. So another good tip, when you see your session VWAP, so this is anchored to the opening of the session, and this is completely in the middle. It's never left any of this range. There is a good chance that we are just going to go and test the opposite ends, right? We're just sitting in value. There's nothing's really going on. Entry looked good. I mean, I only took 2 points of heat. The question is, are we going to fail now? We'll see. Where's my profit target? It's so hard to like find range at this point. To be honest, I should just be scaling out, which I probably will. Just try to take some profits along the way because it's so choppy. But again, we tested the underside of this. There's a lot of liquidity sitting here. So part of me is wondering if we're going to make a run to take out all the stops that are sitting here before we come back up into the range. That's kind of the risk of this trade as well. But let's see what happens. Another test of VWAP there, I believe. Pretty close to. All right, I'm going to take one off there. I'm going to move that here. And I think I'm going to go to break even, guys. I don't want to I mean, we've tested VWAP here in this area 3 times and rejected. Could we test 4 times and reject? Sure, but the more we come down here, I'm anticipating we are going to get a break. So I did want to lock in something. And again, when you're range trading, I mean, you're just essentially playing the chop, right? So we'll move that one right about here for now. And that's going to be good. Good trade. Waiting for the level to come. It doesn't look like much, but let's pull this out. Let's have a look. How was that? Sorry, that's not really showing that very well. Why is it showing only that I sold 2 when I had 3? Not really sure I understand that, but looks like about a $50 or $60 trade, which is fine. I'm only trading 3 micros, right? I'm just trying to add and stack some winners here, just playing the range without. The problem with that is as well, like when you're trying to figure out how low you're going to go in this range again. I mean, we've got this super area down here, and I played this earlier. You can see my executions just in and out of those ranges. But where I'm going with this is, yeah, this is VWAP. I had some pretty good confluence here, and I did like that area, sure. In hindsight, I could have held, and in hindsight, this may go right to the top of the range again. It's possible I could have just, held the runner. But you don't know when this chop is just going to take over again, right? Like, there's no reason for me to believe that this is the time we're going to break out, or this is the time, right? We're probably just going to chop around. So rather than sit in this trade for 40 minutes, just getting in and out, making $50 here, $60 there, $100 here, it does add up. I mean, the days at $291 in profits, I haven't traded more than 3 to 6 micros at a time. So pretty simple trading. Yeah. And again, I'm thinking that that area is going to be eventually tested for sure. At what point, I'm not sure, but there's a lot of liquidity sitting here. We've built up a lot of stops over the last couple hours. Everyone playing that range is probably playing where I was, right around here, right? Putting stops back underneath here. So at some point, I see a run for this liquidity pool here before we eventually either pull back up. I mean, we could just take that liquidity and dump, of course, but it's kind of the idea. As far as any next trade setups, I guess let me go over some of my charting, right? So this one's pretty messy, but I'm going to peel it back a little bit. As I mentioned, the purple line here, this is your anchoring you up to the 930, the New York Open. Okay. This is your overnight VWAP or your global VWAP, this dotted one here. This gets anchored to the 6 p.m. Open automatically. So that's going to include Asia, London. This is strictly New York. And then the line above here, these are just deviation bands, standard deviation bands 1 and 2. I can turn that off for now as well. So that we can just see the VWAP. So there's your overnight VWAP, Globex VWAP. There's your New York VWAP. You look at how flat your New York VWAP is, right? If you look at that and we draw, essentially the range of the day since open, right? Where are we? since we opened and stopped all day, VWAP has never left. You want VWAP to start leaving the range, one way or another, to let you know that, okay, price is leaving, right? So here price is leaving the range. We're headed down. But you notice the VWAP is not, volume is not going with it. So that's telling me that, hey guys, we're probably going to come back to the range. And as long as this line stays flat, I have no reason to believe that we're going to break out at all today. In fact, there's a higher probability that we do nothing for the rest of the day except chop in this pretty tight range and consolidate. Again, we may, make a run for this liquidity, but if I was a betting man and we do come down and take this liquidity out, my guess is we will get sucked back up, like, essentially the same way we did here. We made it, we broke down, enticed all the shorts, a couple of nice red candles, thinking, oh, yeah, we're below VWAP, we're breaking down, thinking we're going to fill some of this gap in here. Instead, what happens? We get sucked right back into the range. So that's kind of what I'm thinking is going to happen. All right, green line is my pre-market high. That's kind of how I mark my charts. This is normally on a 2-minute. Sometimes I will move to the high candles just so I can see trend better. Sometimes you can see this a little bit better. Take some of the noise out. See all that kind of noise in there. This is telling me, and I mean, again, we're not going anywhere, but gives you a better idea of kind of who's in charge for the last little bit, right? So we'll leave that on Heikin sometimes. Over to the left-hand far screen here. Up here is some moving averages daily, so I can see what's going on for the day. Red open. This is your Globex open. This is the one we opened for the day yesterday. And essentially, right, we opened up at 580. Let's call it 595, and we've done nothing but gone straight up. Unfortunately, none of that during New York, all of that during the overnight. And then over in this corner here, this is a 30-minute chart. Lines are just basic support and resistance. Areas for me to look at when we may, have problems. Not necessarily, for example, right here. I'm not necessarily looking to fade this area. I may, depending on other price action, but this is more of a reminder if I was long to get out here. That's how I would play that. So not much range in these 30-minute candles, 925 to 850. It's like a 75-point range. Absolutely brutal. So that's kind of the one chart I've got. I look at another one here in a 15-minute, generally. This one I'm going to mark some fair value gaps. I just use an indicator, fair value points. There's a couple that I kind of play around with, but just looking at gaps, seeing whether they get respected or they get inverted, and look overall trend direction. Sometimes on a 15-minute, you can see that a little bit better, like your actual, pivots. So for example, we came down here to that level that I marked. In theory, and essentially I almost bottom ticked that, which is pretty good entry. Crappy exit, right, in hindsight, as we kept going, of course. But looking at this wick and all this volume here, the problem with the trade that I took there as well is, where was my risk going to be? In order for me to still be in the trade and have a valid setup, you'd be looking at setting your stop, really below this wick, right? Because I would need to see this break in order to assume that I'm coming down here, right? If that doesn't break, I mean, we could just do whatever the hell we want down here and eventually come back up. So a strict 1-to-1 would have been right about there. So not bad, really. I mean, it may get there for sure, but just based on the chop that I was seeing, I wasn't interested in holding that very long. Little double bottom here. We got a little bit of, let's see what happens. Just gonna remove that. This is just kind of a hypothetical, right? But back to the 15-minute. But I mean, you see, basically, we started getting really wicky here and rejecting, half an hour before the New York Open and have done nothing since except consolidate in a 100-point range, literally. 150 points from high to low, but really the range is here. Yeah, you're looking at a 100-point range in 4 hours. That's the one downside of when you get these big moves in the overnight session. I mean, unless we're going to retrace that move, New York's going to say, I don't think so, London. No, we're going down, or whatever the case may be. If you don't get that more or less immediate reaction to what's happened in the overnight, you're not going to get it right. It needs to happen, in my opinion, pretty quickly. So a lot of the times you'll notice, right? You'll get a big push in the overnight session, opens up, New York players come in, big volume comes, and normally you're either going to get a fade of that area, right, or we're going to get a little elevation, but essentially we're going to continue to move higher. 300-point move, it's expected that you're probably going to get some consolidation, right? But 4 hours of it, a little much. But looking to the left, we have a lot of chopping here, a lot of consolidation up in here, right? Look at all this area. So, I mean, we're just doing essentially what we've done before. The market has a memory. And you can see that. This whole area here, just chop. So, I mean, we're not doing anything, I guess, unexpected. It's frustrating because there's a lot of follow through. There's just a lot of erratic candles moving down. But actually, when you're looking at this charts like that, you want to think to yourself, if you're getting this, what's the other side doing, right? So if I'm going to short this, and my stop is going to be here, right? Where's everyone else's stop's going to be? Someone's long has the opposite section of me. Where's their stop be, right? Well, their stop's probably going to be here, right? So start thinking about that, and your entry is my better place where someone else's stop is, right? So my entry short might be better when I break in, retest, take these stops, come back up, right? Again, not necessarily on a range like today, but I am curious to see what happens when we get down to this pool here. Have you guys taken any trades out there? Anyone long, anyone short? Let me know in the comments. See what gold is up to. Gold made a push there, following this trend line for the most part. Not perfect, but respecting it. Let's have a look at gold. $15-minute support and resistant zones on gold. Jerry look really well. So I would mark this one here. So now at this point, you'd be looking for gold to break this resistance on the 15-minute candle, break and close. Look for the next candle wick to form that bottom wick by coming down and retesting the area and going. But there's not a lot of volume at this time of day. So generally, during high volume times, you'll get a pretty big move in your favor on gold. The white little boxes here are telling me that we had an inverted. This was a fair value gap. This is a bearish fair value gap that was inverted on, I guess this candle would be the inversion. So pretty bullish sign that we're going to keep going up, right? So we are kind of reacting to a 5-minute fair value gap, which doesn't mean much being that it's such a lower time frame, right? It's not going to hold as much weight as our fair value gap per se, right? Let's turn off the sessions. It's confusing at times with the colors. But a lot of inversions, right? A lot of inverted gaps. Let's see what else to gold up here. So good. Nice pocket of liquidity sitting there. Going to be a ton of stops up there, sure, I would think, right? Anyone who shorted this move jumped in here, jumped in here, jumped in here, jumped in here. Even a break of this level, you got some stops up here. But the majority of traders are stopping out right there. So will we run those stops? I'm tempted to try to buy gold if it comes back down to the line, right? Like, I mean, we've been risking that pretty well. I feel like we'll make a run for that area. Got a bearish fair value gap we're tapping into. 5 minutes, got a couple there, but up at the top as well. Again, I expect anything more than more chop to happen at this point, right? Let's see if I can find Volume book looks pretty thin, to be honest. So there's that map. Sorry, I can't speak today. Talking about size, yes. This is just some YouTube who's streaming that. It's not my it's not my YouTube channel or stream, but just to give you an idea where that volume may be, right? You want to look at the big red areas. The darker the area, the more volume is sitting there. I mean, NQ is a lot thinner than ES will be. ES is going to have a lot of volume. You see that 707 is 154 contrast on the low side, and we're looking up here. 710 is kind of where we're at now, right? And there's volume all the way up, but nothing too crazy. There's a lot down here. All right, guys, I think at this point I'm going to be ending the stream. There's just nothing going on here. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. Probably going to chop the rest of the. I may pop back on for Power Hour, but as it stands now, I don't see what's going on here. So good time to end the stream, get some lunch, and maybe we'll come back in about an hour. So for those of you that are still trading this, lower your size. It's looking pretty damn choppy, obviously. Be careful. We may get a move at some. I doubt it, but you never know, right? Always err on the side of caution. Protect your mental capital as well. This is to just sit here and watch these candles print. Just really brutal on the brain. So I'm at my win, $300. Pretty decent for the day, and we'll catch you guys maybe in about an hour. I'll be back on later on tonight. Have a great day. We'll talk soon. The Mad Greek's out.